Hi guys. So I wanted to talk a little bit about health today. Let me start by saying I'm not a doctor. I don't have any kind of nutrition degree or anything like that. So do not take my suggestions, whatever, as the be all end all, because that's not the point. You should always do your own research. Always, always, always. And in point of fact, you actually should do that, because I used to be someone who would go, oh yeah, you should do your own research. And I'd kind of do about a minute of research and then be like, okay, I'm done. That is not an opinion of your own form, let me tell you. You need to read more than a few sources, get properly educated. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about specifically is twofold in regards to health, I think. Maybe threefold, whatever. So the first thing is, let me back up a little. My history in terms of my health and weight, I've always been in excellent health. I've always had really, really good health. And in regards to my weight, I kind of always struggled with that. I didn't know why beforehand. And somewhere along the line, I don't know, I guess my diet just got the better of me and I got sick. And they diagnosed me with IBS, but it didn't seem like it fit. So I kind of was on this journey to try to fix whatever was wrong with my stomach. And the first thing that I tried, sorry that I keep playing with this, I'm such an ADD person. The first thing that I tweaked was to change about my diet before was I stopped eating dairy. I stopped having all dairy products. I basically became lactose intolerant. Out of the blue, I thought. And then I started to research about why might that be and and I discovered that, we're not meant to have dairy products as human beings. I mean, I'm not talking about breast milk here, by the way. I'm talking purely about cows and cow milk and goat milk, any other animal milk. We're not meant to drink that. It's meant to literally grow a baby cow. So the thing with dairy that people don't think about is it's mostly because it's intended to grow a baby cow, it's full of fat and nutrients that grow a baby cow into a bigger cow, into a big cow. And if you look at people who, and no offense, I was exactly this person 5 years ago, but these people are definitely the larger people. You can tell that they're increasing in size, in other words, because of eating the dairy, having the dairy products. And that is just looking at the health and weight implications of the dairy on you. Now, that's not even, counting the incredibly cruel aspects of the dairy industry, which, I invite you to please look into on your own. But, some of these not fun highlights of the industry that people don't like to think about are the facts that these cows are artificially inseminated, constantly. Very, very regularly. I'm not sure if it's constant, but it's a heck of a lot. And that's cruel practice, in my opinion. They can't move. They're standing still for hours and hours a day, just standing there, unable to turn around, in absolute, it's like a cell. And they're stripped of their children, their babies when they have, to me, that's all I needed to hear, but that's not even counting the health effects, What I don't understand is non-vegans just that I've met so far don't really seem to care about the cruelty, and I sort of don't understand it. I even spoke to someone who was supposedly, mind you, I spoke to them online, so I didn't get to shake their hand or meet them in person, but they claimed to have been in the dairy industry, and they said that they cared about their cows, and I just thought, do you really though? Anyway, I invite you to look into the industry itself, look into that aspect, and also investigate the health implications of dairy, because I can tell you it's not a health food. It's not. And so one of the first things to happen when I stopped having the dairy and realized that that was a huge improvement was the weight just started to come off. Now, I've struggled with that, like I said, I think my whole life. I've always been a little bit on the overweight side ever since I was probably 12-ish, ever since I pretty much hit puberty. And the link to dairy is huge. I used to pan milk down like there was no tomorrow, and that's embarrassing as hell to me to say now, about myself, to admit that, yeah, I used to really pound back the dairy, but I didn't know. I really didn't know about the horrible aspects of the industry, and I certainly didn't know about, the poor cows that go through this. Sorry guys, you hear the bird back behind me over there? Over there is my bird feeder, and there's a woodpecker or several birdies going on over there. Maybe I'll just, oh, well, I scared it off. Anyway, sorry, I really do squirrel about like things like that, but I thought, oh, they probably hear the birds, so maybe I'll show them off. Anyway, so dairy is a big deal. It's not something you should take lightly, especially if, let me just also say this, if you have any, and I know I'm not a doctor, but the other thing that is super relevant to this I should mention is that I have psoriasis. Now, I kid you not when I say that I have it all over my body. Now, when I was 5 years ago, when I started to have all this trouble, I was on a biologic medicine called Cosentyx, which is something that you get injected into your arms. Well, you can get it injected into your stomach, but I'm really terrified of needles. So I actually had to have nurses do it for me because I'm that scared of needles. But anyways, so I was on this injectable biological medicine to stop the psoriasis. Now, when I found out about how bad certain drugs can be, I decided, you know what, I don't want to be dependent upon, basically just dependent upon anything from outside of my own body in order to heal my body. And so I stopped taking those in December. And so I'm healing that in essentially a homeopathic, holistic, whatever way. I'm just eating vegan and I'm drinking celery juice every day. That's literally what I'm doing. And back in the day, I wouldn't have been able to wear this. I had it all over there. I had it, I mean, this is crazy, but I had psoriasis on my eyelids. I had it behind my ears. I had the back of my neck, all over my scalp and head, all over my torso and arms. And, there you can see, I don't have any on my arms. I'm in a short sleeve shirt. I'm not going to show you my legs because they're, anyway, I will one day, but not today. Yeah, just, it's crazy. So point being, where I was going with that was, I remembered, if you have any kind of inflammatory issue, if you have any kind of autoimmune disorder, whatever, absolutely anything with inflammation, then you should stop with the dairy. And I say this seriously with love, with compassion for you, with understanding of how uncomfortable you can get with some of these issues. Like, for instance, when I had my psoriasis before it got treated and everything, and then before I went vegan to deal with it, I kid you not, I was uncomfortable 24/7, like literally 24 hours a day. I was either in pain, like showers were absolutely excruciating for me because I don't know if you've ever gotten a cut and then it like cracks and then you go run it underwater, it like stings and hurts. Yeah, that was what my entire body would feel like when I would shower. It was the most excruciating thing in the world. Sorry, I'm trying to get a bug off my finger but not drop the phone. There's a mosquito hour out here. And it's crazy to think that I'm not on any medications right now for my skin and that my skin isn't crazily inflamed. Purely, that only reason it's not is because of celery juice and an anti-inflammatory diet, which I'm eating raw vegan to clarify that mostly. So most of my diet is like 80% raw fruits and vegetables with a little bit cooked food at night. That's currently what I'm doing. And it's working. I mean, like I said, you can't see any psoriasis on me anywhere right now. So it's working well enough to keep that at bay. So again, if you have any kind of autoimmune disorder, if you have any inflammatory, anything, seriously, any kind of inflammation, fibromyalgia, if you have Crohn's, if you have IBS, if you have, gosh, I don't even know, eczema, psoriasis like me, if you have, I don't know what else is there, psoriatic arthritis, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, dude, all of these things you can really, 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 really help yourself if you cut out the dairy. Now, don't take it from me, try it and see what happens. But so here's another point. It's like, why wouldn't you take the opportunity to do something that not only benefits you more, but also that is cruelty-free? Like, how is that a lose situation in any manner? Your health benefits. The animals benefit because they're not in these cruel situations. I don't see the drawback. So honestly, I'm at a loss for why people don't at least just drop meat and dairy. I don't get it. It's crazy. Like, you literally stand to lose nothing and only to gain a lot. You'd be surprised. So I lost 30 pounds when I stopped eating dairy and meat, and that was crazy. But specifically the dairy, I want to really hit that home, because meat is like, it is bad for you, and please do your research. It's not great for you. It's a class 1 carcinogen, which I believe is just as bad as like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day or something insanely terrible like that. Meat is not a joke. Literally giving your child or your babies, or hell, yourself, meat is like smoking a bunch of cigarettes, which I know all the parents out there would never feed their children. You would never be like, here, have a cigarette, honey. Like, no. So I really strongly encourage you to stop eating these things. And what's cool about it is that down the road, besides the fact that you'll be benefiting all the animals and you'll be feeling like a better person because you're not hurting animals, and your health will be doing much better. That much I can promise you. What specifically it'll be, I don't know. For me, it was weight loss, and then it was my skin clearing up a little bit. And now I'm having like spiritual, I don't really know what to call it without sounding completely weird. Even then, I don't really have the words. I don't know. Let me just put it this way. Beforehand, I was spiritual, but I hadn't had any kind of real profound experiences or anything to like, I guess, confirm that there's an outside source of energy besides us. You know what I mean? And believe it or not, as strange as it sounds, or what felt and was to me, eating vegan and the more I've eaten raw foods, the more I feel connected to God, source, the universe, the world at large in general, animals, everything. Seriously, it's kind of strange. And before, I wasn't someone who felt like, oh yeah, I get downloads from source. But now, if I meditate and I get deep into a meditation, like I sometimes get downloads. I started to do automatic writing, which, look into it if you're interested. But I thought, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do that. Had a profound experience with actually a YouTuber that I really admire, Victor Odo. If you don't know who he is, by all means, check him out. Maybe I'll even link him I probably will link him in the description, just because he's cool as heck. He does awakening type videos, and he does like spiritual, like new moon energetic update videos and things. He's just a really cool guy. The point is just the benefits from veganism really never stop, and you get the extra benefit of you don't even have to think, oh, am I, look. So, okay, I recently had a conversation with a family member about going vegan, and they were pretty much not wanting to. And I do understand how that can be. But it's like, honestly, you don't stand to lose, I understand that when people first hear about it, they start to feel guilty, and that's completely natural because, you realize, oh crap, I've been murdering tons of animals, or if you haven't been murdering them, just putting them in very uncomfortable, very not nice positions. And I just think if people really think about it, they'd rather not. So, feeling guilt at first makes sense, but what you can do about that is go vegan. I know that it feels like a huge leap from a sad diet to veganism, and that you probably have your own preconceived kind of ideas of what vegans are like, because a lot of us do like to speak out about it, but it's because the lives of animals are important to us. But it's true that, I don't know, the stereotype, I guess, is kind of true, that we do tend to kind of walk into a room and be like, I'm vegan. Hey, vegan over here, vegan. Yes, I'm vegan. I don't know why a lot of us can't seem to walk into a room and kind of not make a thing out of that. But I'm trying to drop it because I know how awful that is. And I don't actually feel superior to anyone. It's not about that for me. What it's about for me is saving the animal lives and living a cruelty-free lifestyle. Let me clarify something. This is something that I picked up from Freely, the banana girl. If you don't know who she is, also check her out. I'm happy to link her too. She is someone who has inspired me crazily about this, about everything, but especially the ethical. I was already ethically concerned about the animals, but she just has a really great way of making you care. And you should care, because we're on this huge planet with other creatures besides ourselves. This is not a planet where we're here to dominate. We're here to live in harmony with these creatures. And as wacko as it might sound, the minute that I stopped eating them and their secretions and all of that, I really felt more connected to them. And I actually think I'm more connected to nature now. It's not just something that I am saying because I want to seem more out there. I already am plenty out there. There's no need for that. But like, I'll sit out here by my bird feeder, you know, I'll sit actually pretty much underneath it, and I'll get goldfinches, and the chipmunks will come pretty much right up to my hand. I'm not even, one day I'm hoping they'll get close enough I can video it. The point is, nature will come up right next to me and just kind of be like, hi, I love you. And I don't think it's just in my head, you know, like, I have no reason to be thinking about that. I come out here to garden. I'm not thinking, let me come out and make friends necessarily. So what I guess I'm saying is, oddly enough, nature will respond to you having gone vegan, and you'll find that you're just much calmer, actually, is another thing. I feel so much calmer eating this way, and it's not uncommon. My parents, actually, I encouraged them after a while. They started to eat vegan, and they're feeling much better for it as well. So the dairy really inflames you. That's something that it really inflames you. It's incredibly cruel to the cows, and obviously so is the slaughter of millions of animals, which, by the way, that's every single day. Millions of animals. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel pretty certain that if in the world, say, like, I don't know, I can't think of, I don't really want to make this reference, but like, if it was terrorists, right? Like, if thousands of Americans were dying on a daily basis due to some kind of terrorism, you bet your butt that somebody would be doing something about that. But yet I'm just saying, but we're essentially murdering millions of animals. So we're committing genocide on like a daily basis of animals. And, you know, most humans just don't even want to look at that. And I understand, but you have to look. You gotta look. And there's no reason for it. It's needless. We can absolutely get all of our nutrients and everything we need from plants. The thing of it is, the animals ate those plants. That's why, you know, you think that you need to eat meat, potentially. So I can't encourage you strongly enough to go vegan. And it's not, you know, because it's a cliche thing. It's time. The world needs more compassion. And this whole thing with the carnivore diet is just insane. I mean, how can you possibly think that to ingest a ton of cruelty and a bunch of dead animal flesh, I'm sorry, but that's what it is going to like give you anything? You do not, you know, when you see dead things, you don't go, yummy. Most of us are like, ooh, you know, it's craziness. All I'm saying is, think about these things really just logically for a minute. And what I also want to say is regards to the guilt, you know, it'll pass. The thing is, you fight, you kind of have like an internal dialogue with yourself for a while, and you like go back and forth between your sort of old standard American diet mind and your new like compassionate mind with veganism. And, you know, you're like, okay, do I want to be cruel or do I want to be kind? And you learn and you realize that you really don't need anything, and that absolutely every amino acid, protein, everything you could possibly need comes from a plant. That's the truth. You know, I have absolutely no reason to make that up, and it is not a lie. Most vegans, you know, will tell you that. They've come, if they're long term, you can tell that they're obviously not lacking anything. Anyhow, I wanted to get on and rant about that a little bit because it's really important to me. Like, I go to the store, I suppose, about once a week because I really, you know, I don't like to go there, have to wear a mask and do all that stuff that we have to do right now, or whatever. Have to, I guess, for now, because the virus is around. But what I was going to say is, when I go there, I joke with my dad about it sometimes, because when I tell him when I go in there, I want to like lay across the meat counter and be like, don't buy this. It's incredibly terrible for you, and it's mean to animals. And, you know, I want to like, you know how there's sort of that stereotypical activist image of like someone laying down in front of I don't know, like a pavement truck or something really huge about to cut down a tree or a building. I like want to do that, but in the meat section of the grocery store, and just like, you know, be there with a loudspeaker like, don't eat it, it's gonna kill you, just for the health aspect. And there's just so many people, and I don't see, frankly, enough people going vegan. There's really no excuse not to. And I'm not like judging you, okay? If you're just becoming a vegan now, I'm not judging you, but I am saying, think about it. Realize what's really going on in your life. Think about it. Could you murder a cow? Like, could you actually do that? I don't think you could. I mean, this is like a really sad example of things or whatever. But, you know, I had this bird, or was it a bird? No, it wasn't the birds. The birds lived, never mind. But I had this squirrel that it had crawled into my yard and was dying, and there was nothing that I could do. It was clearly injured somehow internally, and I couldn't do anything about it. And, you know, I was reading everywhere, there's really nothing you can do. So I was kind of just trying to keep it company. And I was just thinking, you know, man, I could never kill this thing. And, you know, I just don't know many people who could honestly kill a living thing. You know, who would honestly choose to be cruel. I really don't. And all I'm really asking is just think about it. You know, if you could live a life where you're easily free of, you know, creating cruelty on another being, why not just do that? You know, I understand it's hard to adjust to. I really, really do. And it feels like you're giving up flavor and taste and stuff. But let me tell you, as I've adjusted to this, you absolutely do not have to give up flavor. In fact, your taste buds will adjust, and you'll find that these raw foods, or even if you don't go raw, that's not even the point, but just eating vegan, that the foods have plenty of flavor on their own. What you'll find is that you've actually dulled your taste buds by eating what you were eating, and that you actually really start to enjoy the regular flavor of plain old foods. That sounds weird, but it's the truth. Like I used to hate asparagus when I was growing up, and recently, you know, one of the more recent developments, I freaking love asparagus. So anyway, the main point is just, you can spare yourself like the guilt entirely. It's easy. You just stop eating meat and dairy, and you know, you're gonna be sparing your family a lot of grief and pain. Really. Like, look, every person is individual. Every person, they have a factor of genetics. You know, that's one thing. You have your genetics, which determines some degree of your general health. And then you have what you're eating. And, you know, for instance, if you have rough genetics, like I guess maybe mine aren't as strong as, say, some of my other family members, and they can eat meat and dairy, and I literally can't. You know, I would literally feel like I was going to have to go to the hospital. I'd have such bad stomach pains if I ate dairy. But of course, you know, I wouldn't at this point anyway, because it's just cruel and there's no need. I feel so much better not eating it. Sorry, I was sitting on my hair. That's how stupidly long my hair is. I know you guys haven't seen it. One day you will, all of it. But yeah, you really won't lose anything. I promise. If you need recipes, I can point you in a direction. If you need cookbooks, I can point you in a direction. If you need advice, I can point you in a direction. If you think you're missing a nutrient, I can probably point you in a direction of a supplement that will give you that. But I promise, you know, there's another kind of misconception about it, which is that somehow like vegans are deficient. And the one thing I want to say about that is that if you really think about it, how could we actually be deficient? For me personally, I was eating garbage before I went vegan. Like, I now know that I was really eating unhealthily. And so now what I'm eating is way more nutritious. You know, I've gained nutrition. There is no way that I'm deficient in anything. And I actually, so far, my blood work has been great. It's been nothing but good. So, you know, the only thing is we're keeping an eye on my iron because that had dipped. But so far, it's fine. I started to eat more spinach. Every night I have about a 4 cup of spinach salad with cucumbers and a teeny weeny little bit of olives because I'm trying to watch my fat intake a bit. But yeah, man. And I guess the spinach was enough to boost my iron levels. And I do take B12. I do think that everyone, actually, vegan or non-vegan, should just take B12. So there's that. It helps with everything. And especially, like, for me at least, brain clarity for some reason. I don't know. Anyway. So I just wanted to chat about that. I wanted to draw your attention to it. I wanted to encourage you to do some research about it. I mean, I would strongly encourage you, if you can handle it, watch Dominion. It's a very, very intense movie, but it's very, very real. And also watch What the Health. I don't know if everything is 100%. Like, I think that it is, but I haven't, you know, fact checked that myself. But at the very least, you'll get a good idea of what's really going on with things, and it'll really open your eyes to some more sinister aspects of what goes on that we don't like to see. And I know it's because we don't like to cause pain and we don't like to cause hurt and think that, you know, yeah, and do things like that to others, but we have to keep ourselves awake and aware and change accordingly. I think all of us would rather live a peaceful, compassionate life. So consider that, please. Like, your family will be in better health for it. I I kid you not, look into it. There are ways that are super easy to get all the nutrients you need. Spirulina being one of them. That's a great protein source, which is from, I believe it's technically like algae or whatever, but it's a complete source of protein and it's totally a plant. You don't need to eat meat for protein. There's also, just real quick, the protein thing is crazy to me. All you see nowadays is these products with 16 grams of protein, 8 grams of protein, 9 grams of protein, 10 grams of protein. You want to know something? Protein is pain. And I don't care if that's plant-based protein or animal protein. Protein is pain. And if you don't believe me, I encourage you to try that yourself. Like, take out protein from your diet temporarily and then put it back in and see if you feel better or worse. Honestly, see if you have less or more pain. I had a lot more. The more protein I eat, the more pain I'm in, and that's still true. So anyway, I just wanted to encourage you guys really, really, really to think about it. I wanted to try to come at it from a compassionate and more, I don't know, a less judgmental at people who aren't eating vegan, and just try to encourage you to see why we eat this way, and to see that you could really, really help your family's health, especially in these times. It's one of the best ways to eat. Like, there's a reason I'm not sick right now. There's a reason that most of the vegans that I think all actually of the vegans that I've seen on the online community, and yes, I suppose they could be sick in secret and I would not know, but they seem healthy to me. So please do your research, look into the implications of health, watch What the Health. That one isn't traumatic. You can watch that and just be enlightened. Dominion is about the factory farming. It's very difficult to watch, but it is very worthwhile. Like, it is absolutely something that you should educate yourself on. But I will admit that, like, I struggled to get through it. I bawled my head off the entire time because it's hard to watch what's really going on in those slaughterhouses. And I have compassion for, I had compassion for animals before I was a vegan, and I obviously have only more now. So I just really want to encourage you to look into it and to do good things for your health. You will thank yourself for this move, especially now, because when your family isn't sick and doesn't need to go to the emergency room, in a time of crisis, then you'll, where is that a loss? Anyway, I really do, with love, encourage you guys to look into that. I do hope you're all well and taking care of yourselves. And I hope to be bringing you some garden videos soon. There isn't much going on out here that's been working for me this year. Because of rain and heat and things, I haven't been able to grow a whole lot, successfully. I also had a real problem with chipmunks this year that dug up almost everything I planted immediately. So I'm waiting on some zucchinis and things to grow. I have zucchinis and tomatoes, and what else do I have here? I've got broccoli. What do I have? I have some new series of beans coming up. I've got some broccoli, and I have some cucumbers and squash and things, but nothing's producing right now, so I don't really have anything to show off. But I want you to know that permaculture and gardening things are coming this way soon, but it is also important for me to be vegan. Oh, and I want to also mention, before I go, that this channel is going to be a lot of things. It's not just going to be one thing, but I think that the focuses of it are going to be slow living, because I really want to get into that. I'm so interested in becoming minimalistic, more so anyway than I am by a lot, and in the slow living lifestyle. I just think there's so much value in that, and sustainability and permaculture. Those are the main focuses of the channel going forward. It'll be gardening, of course. Like I said, I wanted people to learn how to become food independent and teach them how to grow food forests and to grow things. So all of those things will be covered. So I guess just know that is coming. All right, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I really, really hope you take care of yourselves and your family, and I hope everyone is well out there. I wish you lots of love. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.